Welcome to this presentation of AlgoPlanner. During the next 4.5 minutes, we will explain why and how you will save from 5 to 15% on your direct cost on fuel and labor. As the name suggests, AlgoPlanner plans by making use of algorithms, in fact, very advanced algorithms. Route planning is a well-known discipline, but usually the term describes the task of making the best possible route for one vehicle with multiple stops. What you will see in a moment, however, is that although the optimization of each individual route is important enough, the big savings are hidden elsewhere. How? Dynamic routing. Before we go through what we mean by dynamic routing, let's first take a look at how distribution is being done today. A major city, for instance, is typically divided into areas, like zip codes, for instance. Smith typically takes care of all activities in Zone 1, Joan takes care of Zone 2, and so forth. This is called static routing. And it has its advantages. For instance, it's good that your driver knows his area, but it's expensive. Why is that? Well, let's take a look at the math. Each day the driver taking care of, let's say, Zone 1 has a certain amount of pickups and deliveries that need to be taken care of. When we talk about parcel distribution and other similar businesses, this amount, however, fluctuates from day to day. Some days he will have a lot of business and some days less. The normal procedure is to try and find area sizes that will enable the driver to handle the day's business on one hand without overtime and on the other hand without too much idle time either. Let's call this his max capacity. Inevitably, however, he will sometimes have more business than he can handle. This means that he will either need to work overtime or that extra resources will need to be called in. And normally these resources are more expensive than standard. Other days he will have less business than what he actually has capacity for. And the effect is a low utility on the day in question. Over time, this will result in what we can call his average utility. Let's now move from static to dynamic routes. What we do is change the static zones we saw before into growth zones, larger but fewer. Now let's try and do the math again. Because we changed the zones into more elastic ones, as you just saw, we are now able to plan a much more full, but not too full, schedule each day for each driver. This will increase the average utility. And that higher utility will actually yield a significant cost reduction. In order to do this, we have developed a new set of super efficient algorithms enabling you to plan more than 1,000 stops across as many vehicles as needed in a matter of just a few minutes. This is what we call dynamic routing, and that is the reason why you will save from 5 to 15% immediately after deployment of AlgoPlanner. This is one of the ways we can improve your business. Find out more on AlgoPlanner.com. Thank you very much for watching.